Hello, my Brazilian friends. Today we have 4 great questions, and then at the end, I'm going to talk a little bit about the American healthcare system. So let's prepare and let's roll the intro. So we have 4 great questions this week, and then we're going to talk a little bit about healthcare at the end, as healthcare in the United States I know is very different from Brazil. So the questions this week is about money and real estate lifestyle, home ownership, careers, and education. So question 1 comes from Dolores, and they write, what financial mistakes do you see immigrants make after they begin earning US dollars? I think many Brazilians underestimate the monthly cost of responsibilities that they take. 2 of the biggest responsibilities is where you live and then transportation. I think I have talked earlier in some videos about the percentage that you should really look at for cost for rental or cost for your monthly payment to buy a house. That should be between 30 and 35%. Which is a really good estimate for most people. Any more than that, you run into difficulties of not being able to make your payment, and then you're falling behind in rent or your mortgage, which is never good. The second part is cars or vehicles. All your car and vehicles that you have, about 15 to 20% of your monthly income could be dedicated to transportation. So if you add those 2 together, that's almost 55% of your monthly income for transportation and housing, which is quite a bit. It is surprising how many people will have more than 50% of their income already dedicated to those 2 things. So please be very cautious with that. Car repair costs are extremely high, and most people, when they're looking at vehicles, do not factor in the maintenance or insurance. Now, to get your license plate in the state of Florida, you have to show proof of insurance. And there are places that will allow you to pay month to month for your car insurance. So many people get into difficult situations, and the first thing they drop is their car insurance. And then sure enough, they get into an accident, and not only do you get additional citations or tickets from the police, but then people find that they do not have the ability to fix their car. And then if you still owe money on it, then not only are you paying for a vehicle that you're not using, but then if you're at fault for the accident, then the other people are going to sue you because you have no insurance. And that's going to be a very easy case for the other people to win. So there's a lot of slippery slopes there. So certainly no more than 50% for both your car and housing allowance should keep you on the right side. Great question. So question number 2 is a swimming pool an asset, a luxury, or an expensive responsibility? It's certainly nice to have a pool and very nice to look out in the back and see the pool. However, when you look at the costs, building a pool could be close to maybe $80,000 to $100,000, depending on your taste, how big of a pool, and certainly in Florida, you will want to have a screen enclosure. Now, why would you want a screen enclosure? Bugs and mosquitoes in the evening will make your pool almost unable to swim in without a screen enclosure. Then if you factor in leaves falling into the pool, animals coming to drink out of the pool. I know that when we moved into our house here, it did not have a screen enclosure, and we had difficulties with frogs coming to the pool in the evenings and then singing for their mates for the whole evening, which made it almost impossible to sleep. So if you have a pool, most likely you'll want a screen enclosure as well. The increase of value for the house, though, if you're spending $100,000 round figure for a pool, might increase the value of your house maybe $30,000 or $40,000. So there's quite a bit of difference of $50,000, $60,000 worth of enjoyment that you are going to have for the time that you live in the house. Now, if it's your forever house, that might be really worth the expense. But most typical Americans move an average of about every 7 years. So you really have to consider amateurizing the cost out. So once you have the pool, well, what's that monthly cost? There's certainly services that you can hire that will come and take care of your pool every month. Those services run about $150 to $200 a month, a lot depending on if your pool has an enclosure, if it doesn't have an enclosure around it. But that is the typical cost. If you do it yourself, you might be able to save $50 a month, but then you have the time commitment every week of testing the water, balancing the chemicals. Most people who have not experienced pools for a long period of time choose to have a service come, and they'll keep it balanced for you every week, so you don't have to really think about that. Pool equipment here in Florida, because we are surrounded by the ocean. Electronic equipment in Florida has a bad tendency to deteriorate faster because of the humidity and the amount of salt concentration in the air. Certainly closer to the ocean, much more of an effect. So pool equipment will last between 8 to 10 years. To replace a full set of pool equipment is about $6,000 to $9,000. So if you amortize that out, that's an additional $1,000 a month that you, or $1,000 a year worth of pool costs. Then if you add up the service fees, you're really looking at about $3,000 a year in direct cost and amortized cost for equipment that you'll eventually have to replace. So really look at, when you're looking at a pool, it's a very nice feature, but you really have to be able to plan and budget about $3,500 a year to keep your pool in good order. Big, small, a pool is a pool. Great question. I love pools. I love having a pool at the house. Certainly the next house, our pool is going to be super nice. So for me, the amortization of the cost of a pool is well worth my lifestyle. Although I personally do not get into the pool much, I certainly like to be around the pool. Great question, thanks. So question 3 comes from Lucro, and they ask, what business lessons did you learn much later than you wish you had? When I've owned many small businesses, and at first when I was younger, I was certainly naive in the level of trust of other individuals in keeping their word. As I've gotten older, my level of trust has sadly diminished more and more. One of our U.S. presidents, Ronald Reagan, once said, trust but verify. And that's really my thought pattern now. Certainly I will trust what people will say, but I will certainly verify their information to make sure that it rings true. So how do I do that? I think I have talked several times before about how public information is easily accessible in the United States. If you have a person's name, if you have their telephone number, even more so if you have their home address. There are many websites that you can go and look to see what type of reputation that they have. Certainly businesses are even easier to do due diligence in looking them up on the state. You can look at the county courthouse to see if there's been lawsuits filed and what type those are for both the individual as well as the corporation. And certainly reviews. There are lots of review platforms that are out there to be able to tell how long they have been in business, what their customer reactions are like. Certainly for the larger the purchases, I find that the longer I want the business to be around. So certainly like builders, many of our clients desire to build houses to either rent or build and sell. And we have heard so many stories of some of our clients working with builders who only have 1 or 2 years in business, and they don't complete the build. So certainly longevity, or how long a business has been in operation, really makes a huge factor for me. So I wish I had learned those lessons much earlier in life, but I've learned them now, and now my ability to do my due diligence to make sure that I am dealing with a reputable person and reputable business is one of my mainstays now. I hardly do any business until I've done a thorough background check on both the business and the key players in that business. Great question. Question number 4. Is college in the United States still worth its cost for most young people? No. Certainly college is going to be required for technical aspects, architects, doctors, nurses, most industries where you need a license through the state. Most of that education is going to be through higher education, lawyers and stuff. Although you don't necessarily, I don't believe, have to go through lawyer school to take the lawyer test. It's going to be hard to take that test without that education. So for technical fields, certainly. For non-technical fields, I find a mixture of internship or actually working in the field for maybe 1 or 2 years to really get a feel or idea of what makes a successful person in that field versus non-successful. And then look at those successful people and see what type of background and education that they have. For example, I have a degree in applied sociology, which is a study of groups of people and how they interact. Very little to do with my day-to-day activities of helping to run a real estate company and a design company. However, it did give me the ability to learn how to learn. I have to learn new stuff every day, it seems, and having the base of how to do that due diligence, what sources to trust, to learn the skills and information that I need is much more available now thanks to the internet versus perhaps when I was younger. So with the expanding ability of resources on the internet, being able to find best practices from other people, I would almost suggest getting into a field for a little bit, even if it's at an entry level, finding out the difference between successful and unsuccessful people in that area, the path of the career of eventually where you want to be at the pinnacle or peak of the career that you want, and then decide what type of educational processes that you need. It might be that you might be able to go still do work part-time and go to school part-time, or continue full-time at work and then take your education at night. There are many companies who will encourage you to take classes and will even pay for some of your education. So as you're looking for that first entry-level position, maybe you only have an equivalent of a high school diploma. The older you get, the easier it is to get into higher education. And certainly the willingness to really take assignments and studying more critical. The older you get, more I would find people get more value for the price that they pay for the education. The older they are, because you'll be able to really understand a little bit better of what's critical in your field to know and what's not. Certainly higher education, when you're applying for jobs, show that you have the ability to stick with something for 4 or 5 years and to be able to navigate through a system speaks volumes to corporate America. Corporations are huge and they need people who are able to work inside their system that they have developed. And going through college demonstrates the ability to work through those systems. So really depending on what you're doing, higher education sometimes is mandatory or critical, but for many jobs now, a degree is not required. Your ability to do the work and your reputation certainly a lot of times can lead you down that path. At least that's my take. Great question. So I want to introduce some of the figures that I have on the table here before we get into healthcare. These are figurines 3D printed by, I believe, one of our clients. You've probably seen them in the video. This is, of course, Dexter, 15 years old, doing well, Annabelle, our senior dog, she is 16. She, at 16, is probably 2 or 3 years past the normal life expectancy of this type of breed. But she's still a happy, go-lucky dog. She does have some hard abilities to walk sometimes and needs to take some pain pills to be able to have a quality of life. But I find dogs have that overwhelming ability to adjust and compensate for anything that needs to be done. And then my special dog, Elsa, who is the rescue, she's about 10 years old. And she, out of the 3 dogs, is the one who follows me around all the time. If you ever have the opportunity to come and meet me and Renato here in the office, you'll have the ability to see these because we keep these figurines in this conference room.
Olha só, então eu aqui invadindo o Alex Responde, que meu lindo Dexter. Eu resolvi invadir aqui o quadro do Alex, porque nós temos uma pergunta que veio no YouTube e eu achei interessante que para que nós não esqueçamos, eu queria responder aqui junto com ele. Eu vou falar em inglês o tempo todo porque eu quero que ele entenda também o que eu estou falando sobre eu e ele. Vou então ler aqui uma legenda aí. So someone asked us on the YouTube saying, Renato, it would be nice if you tell us what you and Alex have in common.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Great question. So what do you think? And then I'll say what I think. What do you think we have in common?
Oh, so I have to go first. Yes. Okay. We have, I think, the desire to be truthful and honest with people, even when it is what I call a hard conversation to have, is really important to us. I think, I guess that maybe goes to truthfulness as well. That's certainly one of the things that when I met you, I certainly observed. Work ethic. In the past, I have had some relationships with people who did not have the same level of work ethic and drive, and I found that eventually was the start of the end of that relationship.
The beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end, yes.
So what do you mean about work ethic? Explain to them.
Get up early, get to the office, work until it's time to stop, and if there are critical things that have to be done, if they have to be done until 8 or 9 o'clock at night, then it takes to 8 or 9 o'clock. I know sometimes, like in design, we will find something that it will do. However, when we really look at it, we don't want to do just the minimum, or it will just pass. We want it to be at our level of expectation.
Like it was for us.
Like it was for us.
Yes.
And so, sometimes that takes extra time and stuff. And we are both willing to do that to make sure that the things that we produce and put out there are what we would expect somebody to provide to us.
Yes. And sometimes, even like in our costs and our profit, sometimes we make less money, but we want to do it right. So sometimes we make mistakes. Instead of covering up these mistakes, we're going to go and buy it again and then try to find a purpose of the other thing, or just discard it, and then we're going to eat the loss, right?
Sadly, yes.
So anything else?
Those are the big ones right off the top of my head. I am sure in the comments I might come up with a few more ones later on.
Yes, I think that in my case it's the same thing. Early on when we were dating, I saw that he was a hard worker. The big problem that I had in my previous marriage was that my ex-husband, he wasn't a fan of working. So it was the last 2 years of our marriage, he stayed at home and didn't want to do anything, just stay home. And Alex was a really hard-working person because I am a hard-working person. My mom worked a lot. She would wake up when it was still dark, and then she would work until it's dark. And my father, a doctor, working. So that's what I've learned from them. And I was hardworking, and I thought first, after I got divorced, I said I'll never get married again. And then I met Alex, and I saw that he was working in 2 jobs. He had 2 jobs. He worked for the center, and he had his own business with a wedding DJ. So I saw that he was a hard-working person. I think another thing that we have in common, it's how can I say it?
We're both entrepreneurs?
No, I didn't think about that. I was thinking we are good in our hearts. We have good hearts. We always expect good from people. That's why sometimes we've been taken advantage of. We've been taken advantage of because we believe this person is going to be good, and then they take advantage of us. So we are good people. I saw that Alex was a good people, and he was trying to do the good things. Also, I think what we have in common is the politeness. Alex never yelled at anybody that I saw, and I never yelled at anybody or scream, or every time somebody does something wrong, I sit with the person and I talk. And Alex is the same thing. He will bring the person, sit in this room or in this table or in his office, and he's gonna, with a smile, say, you did wrong, and now how are we gonna fix it? So I think these things, it's like taste for food is totally different. I have one taste for food, he has another taste for food, but and then we like the same things. We like movies, restaurants, traveling. There's nothing, I think the only thing that Alex like that I don't do with him is watching those funny YouTube videos that it is funny for the Americans. It's not too funny for Brazilians, but all the rest, the shows, the series, the movies, the traveling, the restaurants is kind of the same.
Yes.
Right?
Brazilian humor and American humor are very different takes, and certainly me specifically, I have a very dry sense of humor, which sometimes is he joking or is he for real? Most of the times I am joking, but that's my definition of dry humor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think basically is this, right? It's like we're hard workers. We have work ethic. We are good people, both of us.
And we care about others.
We care about, yeah, exactly. We care about others. We always find a way to help others. We don't take advantage of anyone. I was writing something in my book that I'll say, taking advantage, or it's like in Brazil, it's called, how can I say, I forgot the name. It's called levar vantagem. Levar vantagem. Levar vantagem or take advantage is not what brings you happiness. generosity is what brings you happiness in the long term, because you surround yourself with good people, with nice people, and you are old enough that you can see who is your friend and who is around because they want something else. So I think that's what we have in common. I think it is answered.
I think so
Do you
too.
think? All right.
Yeah.
So you're going to talk about the health insurance?
Yeah, I'll give a little kind of high-level overview.
Okay. Our guest for the podcast just arrived in the other office, so I'm gonna go there and talk to him before we start recording.
Oh, very nice. I cannot wait for the grand reveal of that room.
All right. So it's not finished yet, but it will evolve as the time passes.
So lastly, I would like to do a little deeper dive into healthcare insurance in the United States, which I believe is handled very differently than in Brazil. In Brazil, there is universal health care along with additional private health care that I hear. So you have the general public hospitals, and then you have private specialty hospitals, and I'm sure there's probably some type of insurance from those institutions. In the United States, although people say that you cannot be denied health care, that really only applies in an emergency situation. So if you go to the hospital and you have a broken arm, the hospital cannot turn you away and they must provide care to you. However, that does not mean that they will not bill you, and they will not try to collect on that bill and then affect your credit rating and get a third-party collection agency to talk with you until you make payment arrangements. Most hospitals have a finance department, and they are willing to work with people if you can show you do not have the ability to be able to pay for the care and service provided. Many times they will reduce the amount or allow you to pay in segments. So communication is always very important, especially in healthcare. There are many different factors. But let's talk more about American healthcare and some of the terms that you will hear, and we'll try to really apply that into a real life situation. So what is the real cost for insurance? Well, you'll see every month that there is a monthly premium. Most healthcare insurance do it on a monthly basis because you have the ability by federal law to switch healthcare in the middle of a service year if you have triggers that allow you to do it. So most healthcare insurances do charge month by month, and that is your premium. We'll see as we go along with the other terms, premiums are based really on two different factors: how healthy and what your age is, and what type of benefits or how much you will pay up front to reduce the amount that you will have to pay for services when you get services from different vendors. So the more you pay up front, the less you have to pay when you are getting services, and of course, all depending on your healthcare factors. So when you're looking and deciding for healthcare, you need to really look at 4 or 5 different variables to determine your level of comfort and your ability to pay in case craziness happens in your life. The first is the deductible. The deductible is the amount of money that you will pay out of your pocket before your insurance really kicks in into full effect. The higher the deductible, the more services that you have to go through before the insurance really covers major bills. Many times in the deductibles, they carve out services that you will use all the time that will go towards paying down your deductible, but they don't have the expectation that you'll pay the whole bill before you meet your deductible. For instance, if you have a routine doctor's visit, the doctor might charge you the bill rate of $120 for their time. Your insurance might have a copay that will allow you to pay $60, and then the insurance company would pay the other $65. Why do they do that? It is in their benefit for you to go to the doctor to get preventative care or maintenance before craziness could happen. Many insurance companies will give you a free visit once per year and free services during that visit, like blood work, just to see where your levels are, to be able to determine if there is potential craziness that might be coming your way. Every policy is a little different though. There are some other carve-outs. There could be a specialty visit. A specialty visit might be your doctor will refer you to a specialist. Let's say that you have a heart problem or a heart condition, or you have not had an EKG performed in a long time. They might send you to a cardiovascular specialist, which is not your primary care physician, so they might charge differently to see a specialist. Usually it is a little higher than the primary care physician. There is urgent care and emergency rooms. What is the difference between urgent care and an emergency room? If you believe your life is in danger, it is best to go to an emergency room. Emergency rooms are based on priority of the possibility of how close to death you are. So if you go into an emergency room and you're sick, you have a high temperature, you're probably not going to die in the emergency room, so you might be there for 4 or 5 hours until there is an availability of a physician to be able to see you. If you come in and your arm is broken and your bone is sticking out, well, you will be first in line in front of the person who is just feeling sick. So emergency rooms, much more variable on time, on what's going on with you. If you're sick, then it is probably an urgent care or a minute clinic that you'll probably want to go to. The wait times there are shorter. The physicians there, or physician's assistants usually that are there, see people who are not feeling well or have rashes, things that certainly need a doctor's attention but are not life urgent. The cost is very different as well. An urgent care might be $250 to maybe $500, depending on what they do. If you go to an emergency room, you could easily get a $3,000 bill. So an emergency room is also exponentially more expensive than an urgent care. It is always wise to, with your insurance provider, find out what urgent cares and hospitals are in network and which ones are out. And we'll talk a little bit more about the difference between in network and out of network a little later. But that certainly is going to affect your cost out the door. So every time you go and receive services, the money that you're paying out of your pocket is going to pay down that deductible. Once you have paid down your deductible, whatever amount that is, you'll see that your insurance provider then will pay much more of the invoice or the bill. Which brings me to the next area, which is co-insurance. So what is co-insurance? Co-insurance usually is triggered by a procedure. Let's say that you have kidney stones and you have to go in and have those blasted with ultrasound, or maybe they have to go in and retrieve them inside your body. That is probably going to be an out surgery. They have special facilities that you go for procedures like colonoscopies or stones, things that are not major surgeries but still are procedures. Usually those institutions will trigger what is called a co-insurance, which says that you will pay a percentage of the invoice until you reach your maximum out-of-pocket deductible. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit as well. So let's say you're going and you're having an ultrasound to get rid of some of your stones. The bill might be $6,000 total. That'd be the doctor, the anesthesia, a physician, the time in the facility, and that bill, depending on what your co-insurance is, the percentage of the co-insurance is what you will pay first before your insurance pays the rest. You'll find when you are looking at the different plans, the co-insurance percentage will vary greatly. So if you are one that has many healthcare concerns, or you have procedures done a lot, that co-insurance is going to be very important to be able to determine how that is going to affect you. Which brings me to the out-of-pocket maximum. So your out-of-pocket maximum is when you reach that deductible, the insurance will pay more, but you will still pay for some services. Your co-insurance will still be in effect as well. But your healthcare insurance will have what is called a maximum out-of-pocket. And that's usually 3 or 4 times larger than your deductible. So if your deductible is $2,000, your maximum out-of-pocket might be $10,000. So once you reach that $10,000 level, then your insurance company will pay 100% of your healthcare costs. This is great, for an example, if you have cancer and cancer in the United States could cost between $500,000 to $750,000, depending on the regimen. For the cancer that I had 10 years ago, total bill out the door was $890,000. by the time that they declared me in remission. Luckily, I had insurance that my maximum out of pocket was $5,000. So I had to pay that $5,000, but the other $885,000 was paid by my insurance company. But really, I didn't even have to pay that $5,000 because at the time, I was not making as much fortune that I am blessed with today, and so money was tight. So I went to the finance department in the hospital. They looked over my records and they waived that $5,000. So they received all that money from the healthcare insurance. And so my care for my cancer really cost me zero money out of pocket. So finding out what your out-of-pocket maximum is going to be real important as well. Many people sometimes get healthcare insurance that does not pay a lot up front, but the benefit is you have that out-of-pocket maximum, and a lot of times people view that as what is the term that I'm looking for? Catastrophic insurance. Certainly it has some benefits during the time, but a lot of people see that as I'm going to pay for my service as I go along. So I have the lowest monthly payment, and I really have this insurance to make sure that if I'm in a car accident or get cancer or other life-changing events, that at a certain point you don't have to worry about healthcare insurance because your carrier will cover that. So we've talked about the premium, we've talked about the deductible, we've talked about co-insurance, the co-pays for different types of services, and the maximum out of pocket. The only other additional thing sometimes that the insurance companies carve out is prescription drugs. Some insurances combine that with the regular formula for deductibles and co-pays and maximum out of pocket. Some healthcare insurance carve out or have a separate bucket worth of money for prescriptions. So the older you get, the more prescriptions that you find that you are provided. Knowing what is called the formulary is going to be important. So as you are shopping for healthcare insurance, go to your drawer that is filled with prescription pills, look at all the drugs that you're taking, and then go to the healthcare formulary for prescriptions and make sure that those drugs are allowed and that the copay is going to be appropriate for you. For an example, I was taking a medication every month that cost $890 per bottle. And the formulary for that, for the healthcare insurance, was excluded. They would only do a 10% copay of that medication. So they would pay $89 and I would be paying $700 and something. Couldn't do that. So I found some other methods and ways. I switched to a generic brand instead of the brand name. And there are also other types of co-insurance or supplemental insurance that allow me to pay more. I used a service called GoodRx that I pay, I think it's $12 a month for, but in their formulary, that medication was covered at $25. So all I have to pay for that $890 list price is $25 a month now. So being educated and finding those alternative ways certainly are in your advantage. So let's talk a little bit about what is the difference as we're talking about formularies and what's allowed and what is outside their system. What they refer to what is called in-network and out-of-network. So healthcare insurance companies enter into contractual agreements with the big healthcare providers. Here in Orlando, you have Orlando Regional, you have Advent, Urgent Cares. There are big organizations that run multiple hospitals or multiple facilities. If your healthcare insurance has a contract with them with what it usually is agree upon prices, then it is in network. That allows your healthcare insurance to kind of know what their potential liability or exposure is for different types of procedures, and then they can statistically figure out what your premium is going to be. So if you're switching healthcare, you need to go and make sure that your primary care physician has a contract with your new healthcare provider. The hospital that you like to go to, or the hospital that is closest to you, that you would most likely go to in an emergency situation, is going to be in that network as well. If not, you're always going to have to keep in back of your mind, oh, if I have a urgent situation, this is the hospital that is going to be in network. Out of network, you're most likely going to pay the established bill or invoice from that hospital, and that's going to go towards your maximum out-of-pocket expense. So you could be paying toward that maximum out-of-pocket expense very quickly if you go to out-of-network. So finding out who has a contract with your healthcare insurance and who does not will determine if it's in network or out of network. Most healthcare insurance companies have a website, and they'll have a provider list where you can look up by name or facility to assure that's either in or out of network. What is the allowable amount? Sometimes, let's say that you are traveling and there is no in-network facility around, and you go and you get service done, and you go to a very expensive place, which charges 3 or 4 times more than the going rate. Maybe because it is that level of service, or there is not another provider, so they can charge that amount. Your healthcare insurance might say, we will only recognize up to this dollar amount for this type of service, and anything above and beyond that is excluded from your out-of-pocket maximum or your deductible. So be careful of that. Another thing is prior authorization. There's probably more discussion on the internet about stories from people who were denied a procedure because the healthcare insurance thought it was not necessary. So when your doctor suggests or provides you a referral, depending on the type of procedure, many times your healthcare insurance has to approve that procedure before they will do the copay and stuff. This is an important step. When the doctor provides you with that referral, the doctor is also, when they are charging the healthcare insurance, they're going to ask for that authorization. That authorization by statutory law, they have so many days to review that, and then they will have to mail you in the mail their determination. Either they will approve it or they will disapprove it. If they disapprove it, then you can appeal and you can fight to get that procedure. Many times then the doctor will have to provide additional information as to why that procedure will benefit you. So for major surgeries, procedures, don't feel that you can schedule that the next day. Many times that will have to be authorized by your health care insurance before you can schedule that. The majority of the times, the billing department at the facility that you're going to, they will be looking for that authorization from your healthcare insurance before they will schedule you for that procedure, because they will want to get paid as well. So there is some safeguards, but it's really your responsibility to make sure that it is done. We've talked a little bit already about prescription deductibles, sometimes very different than healthcare insurance. So that's a 10,000-foot overview of the American healthcare insurance industry, things that you need to be aware of, the major determinations. The next time we're together and I do my deep dive into America, we will talk about HOAs and what they provide, why they're sometimes a great thing to have, and why sometimes people have challenges with HOA, and maybe adjusting your viewpoint on how you interact with the HOA. Until then, I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you later. Ciao, ciao!
Antes de encerrar o vídeo, eu queria fazer um pedido muito especial. A ONG Amigos de São Francisco está prestes a realizar um grande sonho: comprar definitivamente o sítio em Ibiúna, onde hoje acolhe centenas de cães e gatos resgatados do abandono. O valor é de R$360 mil
e já foi arrecadado 80%. Agora falta apenas 20% para que esse lar seja realmente deles. Desde 2012, a ONG já transformou a vida de mais de 2.000 animais. Muitos foram adotados, mas outros, especialmente os mais velhinhos, provavelmente passarão o resto da vida no abrigo. E é justamente por eles que essa conquista é tão importante. Se o sítio não for comprado, todos correm o risco de perder o único lar que têm. Por isso, eu peço a sua ajuda. Não importa o valor, qualquer contribuição faz diferença. A sua doação pode significar dignidade, segurança e amor até o último dia de cada um desses animais. Vamos juntos unir forças e transformar esse sonho em realidade.